A little history first. The word fan comes from the word fanatic. That perfectly sums up the obsessive behavior of some people, even to extreme hardcore devotion. This has gone as far as harassment and even murder. Yeah, it can go into dark places, but that's mostly the exception. Fandoms are mostly harmless, and at best inspiring. Everyone has a passion for something. But there is a danger that can come from this that not many people notice. It's called the fan theory. We see this with movies, video games, and television, and even novels. Heck, even I'm guilty of this. In order for me to explain the problem of this, I've got to talk a little bit about history. Specifically the 70s. In 1973, The Exorcist was released. It was considered to be the scariest film ever made, and it was the highest grossing movie before Star Wars was released. The movie centered around a demonic possession of a preteen girl and the mother's struggle to solve her problem. And that was something that wasn't quite clear. The true theme of the film and the experience is man's relationship with the unknown. It took a very realistic approach in what would happen if a possession and eventual exorcism would take place. And by that they had realistic performances and dialogue. You could even argue that this is the best portrayal of the paranormal in a movie. The audiences were also tested, like their faith was being put on the line. If we're willing to believe that there really is a demon possessing this girl, then there's a devil, and if there's a devil, then there's a god. At the end of the day, it's very much a story about good versus evil. And one of the smart things that movie did right was it left a bunch of unanswered questions that really drew you into it, such as, what was really possessing Regan? Did she really kill the film director? Why did she act to that holy water placebo? And why was she possessed in the first place? And of course, those questions are never answered, and that's where the movie's power came from. The people who saw the movie back in the 70s didn't answer those questions because that was the power of the movie. It was about the unknown. Even H.P. Lovecraft understood this technique of horror in his novel The Mountains of Madness. But now, this is what fan theory is starting to ruin, especially with the aid of the internet. We feel like we almost have to question everything we see in what we like. Anything deep, anything open-ended, we have to fill in the blanks with our theories, ideas, or opinions, instead of there being wonder to it. A writer can hurt whatever he's written if he writes too much about it. A perfect example of this is the video game franchise Five Nights at Freddy's. It was an independent, low-budget, short horror game about a haunted children's pizza restaurant. Very little was known about it, and that's what made it damn scary. But when fans started putting order to the story and mapping out the plot and trying to guess the next move of the developer, it lost its mystique. One of the big things I like about horror is you feel as helpless watching what's going on than the person in the story. And it doesn't have to be horror, it can be sci-fi. Why do you think a movie like 2001: A Space Odyssey still captures our interest almost 50 years later? Like The Exorcist, people didn't question it. We've even come to the point where we're starting to think fan theories are real, despite what the creators say. More people than ever seem to think that all the Disney movies are set in the exact same universe. I can understand that there are joke theories, but there seems to be a lot of people who take theories way too seriously. Look, I'm not trying to say anything about free speech. I'm saying we have to respect the things we like, or we're just going to be ruining this generation's Exorcist. Thank you for watching.